Now, every single Tuesday evening between 7 and 8 p.m., we have an amazingly powerful young lady today here in the studio with us, and I shall introduce her in a second. But if you'd like to get involved or you will be inspired, I guarantee if you're watching us on Facebook Live or on YouTube Live, hi to everybody out there, and you will be amazed at the story that we're going to be covering today. What an inspiration. Okay, so if you'd like to get involved, please get in touch directly with 07745 278 978, and that's our WhatsApp. Or call straight into the studio if you want to speak to Zamiha directly on 01733 602 133. So, I'm afraid I can't wait any longer. I have to bring her into this conversation. Her name is Zamiha Desai, and she has created such a buzz and such a warm connection with her community on Facebook, and now has moved since 2017 so rapidly into the actual events arena. So she is known as being the founder of Recommendation. What a lovely play on the word recommendation. And Recommendation, it's an amazingly powerful 60,000 plus people on Facebook that you can connect with at any time of the day. Now, just for reference, all the gentlemen out there, just in case you're thinking, no, you can't become a member. It's for ladies only, I'm afraid. So for the gents and for everybody's mix-up is another one called Professional Asian. Now, Professional Asian is business-orientated, again, with another 62,000 plus membership. And then to addition to this as well, she's also founded and co-founded an amazing program, which is done once, if not twice a year since 2017, and it's Hey Gorgeous. This is all orientated around the whole essence of business, to connect the communities of the professionals, of the businesses themselves, with Joe public like ourselves who may want to buy that sort of product. So it can anything from the wedding arena all the way through to this year, only this weekend, she did a whole event with youngpreneurs as well. So there were 5 or 6 youngpreneurs who launched their businesses at the event. Truly inspirational. Now, I'm not going to hold back any longer. I have to bring her in on the call right now. Welcome, Zamiha. Welcome to Salaam Radio.
Thank you so much. Such pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Such a tremendously, I think, humble achievement within itself as well. Touching the lives of so many women, and now obviously gentlemen as well, but women specifically, and primarily women on the planet. It must have been a roller coaster of a journey. So before we get into how Recommendation, I love the spin-off.
Thank you.
If you haven't heard it, you've got to say it. You realize when you say it, you think Recommendation or Recommendation. So Recommendation, it's a space for the Asian community to coexist and actually just have general chit-chat and conversational discussions. But we'll go into that a bit more detail in a moment. But
okay.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. So good to be here.
Well, thank you very much for making the journey. As always, we try our most best to ensure that we bring the best people to the actual show, the event, and you're one of those people.
Oh, thank you. Well. That's really kind of you.
Honestly, Zamiha, you've been very, very inspirational. The journey, from a background, if you can just tell us a little bit about your background, kind of where you've come from, and more importantly, so kind of like, what were you doing before this, because hitting the expanse of such an amazing I could say success and experience, but what about you? Where did you come from?
Not an exceptional story by any means. I was born here in London a long time ago.
No, I don't agree with you. Anybody can see the camera. It was not a long time ago.
It was a fairly long time ago. So
God bless you.
My parents came here from East Africa in 1971. I was born in 1972. Grew up in London, later moved out to Hertfordshire. Mm-hmm. Very normal background, great parents, very supportive family. Went to university in Leeds. Then I Worked in TV for a little while.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. You didn't know that about me, did you?
No,
No,
you
but
see,
a lot of people
we
do.
we research a lot about our general information that's on the web, but you have to tell us the truth, the nitty-gritty.
Yeah,
So
I
TV,
do.
what did you do there?
Well, I did my degree in media studies. I did a bit of Asian programming for Yorkshire Television when I was up in Leeds.
Well done.
Came down, did a few bits and pieces, freelance. Then I actually took a big sidestep into banking, funnily enough.
As you do.
As you
Yeah,
do.
media studies, and let's do the next thing over to banking.
I know. It's a kind of a weird story. I think I just wasn't cut out for that kind of... It was kind of cutthroat. You know, I'm not really like that. I'm kind of like a bit like, let's all collaborate and help everybody. And
The loving
I don't...
jovialness, yes.
Yeah, and I think at that time it was a bit of a weird time for the TV industry. It was everything was just going digital. There were a lot of smaller companies out there and creating broadcast quality stuff. It was harder and harder to get contracts, and it became about who you know. And funnily enough, considering what I do, I'm not a great networker.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
I'm
amazing.
quite introvert and I'm quite shy. I don't really know what to say to people. So
we're really, really humbled to have you on the show then in that
Thank you.
context. But the beautiful thing is that let that be an empowerment for anybody who's listening this evening. You know, just because you percept yourself to be somebody who's not the outgoing type of person, but actually the reality of life is that that's what people actually adorn to. They love the naturalness about a person. Does that make sense? And the normality is a nice, easy way of saying it.
well, I hope so. I mean, I don't think I'm anything different from your normal girl next door. I'm just a very ordinary in a lot of
What
ways.
a lovely, humble comment. But I'm sure your followers, your groupies, and the people who actually follow you for your community probably have a different version of that world. You know, we inspire. You know, you definitely inspire. And a person who ignites, you know, that ignition of inner change with another person through any form of inspiration is commendable. It's just an amazing, amazing achievement. Well done to you.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I don't know. They're all very, very nice to me, but I hope it's because they see a bit of themselves in me as well, and they can just relate to me. I don't know that in recommendation, I don't know if I'm particularly inspiring, or I don't really kind of say that much. I don't go live in there very much, or you know,
That's Facebook Live.
I might, Facebook Live. I might say the odd word would be had my admin hat on, and say, you know, don't do this and don't do that. But I just tell you, I'm so blessed because the women in recommendation are just this massive supportive community, and they empower one another. I don't think that I do anything more than the next person does. It's just a real culture of let's support each other, let's help each other, let's give each other advice, let's go there if we need advice, and it's just a beautiful community, like a sisterhood. And
like a sisterhood, yeah.
And it doesn't matter because the Asian is specifically Asian. It doesn't matter where you're from. You don't even need to be Asian, to be fair. It's just that interest in Asian stuff.
Yeah, I respect
that. Is spoken about in recommendation.
You said something really beautiful about interesting. So now, and just helping people. So now, a little dicky bird told me the real story of how this all started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now the conversation I'm going to have with you is, what happened? What was the inspiration? I mean, you're sitting here, sorry, I do apologise. You're sitting there, you're talking to me about a group that you've just created with 60,000 plus women in that group. And that is just truly an achievement within itself. And there has to be some warmth, heart. You may think that you're not pulling the people, but the reality is that it just works. You know, sometimes when you tell the truth and tell how it is, it attracts the right people. But I want to go deeper. You know, the audience here are listening. They're here for empowerment. They want to realize how what you call yourself as a normal Joe Public, basic background individual actually manages to achieve such a powerful, inspirational group. So the question here, I'm sure everyone's listening and is actually thinking about this as well. What did you do? How did it happen? You don't just say, "Oh, I'm going to open up a group and I have 60,000 people." What happened?
No, that didn't happen at all. My friend was wearing a sari, and I was really admiring it because I don't know how to tie my own sari, and I always have to go to my mum's house when she wants to put it on, or when I want to put one on.
Bless you. I'll let you into the secret. I don't know how to tie a sari on myself either.
Really? Oh, I'll tell you about this gadget then that started recommendation of. So my friend Rahana was wearing one, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. I can't do it. And she said, oh, I got this gadget. And she told me about this gadget called the Sari Saheli. And I don't know how many people are going to be Googling that right now.
So they should.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly what I did. So it looks kind of like a book that you put on its side, and it's got like little loops, and you just loop the pleats around the sari, so around the loop, so that it's all uniform. And then you kind of lift it up. It's quite hard to describe. I think you have to go onto YouTube and look at the YouTube video, which is what I did. And I ordered it from Amazon, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. It's literally revolutionized my life, because I hardly ever wore saris, and I still don't wear them frequently, but I can just put one on in a few minutes if I want to now, whereas before it was missions. And I thought, I have to tell my friends about this, because I think being British Asian, growing up here, you do sometimes miss out on those things that people like your parents or people that have grown up in India or in Indian communities and wearing saris, they just know how to do it. So I thought, there must be people like me. I'm sure a lot of my friends are spoilt like me. So like my mum she'll cook a curry for me. She doesn't always she doesn't teach me how to make it. It's just one of those things in our household.
Yes. And I'm sure you're going to find you're not alone. The loving nature of mums is such that they don't really want to put the stress and effort on it.
I was completely spoiled. Yeah, completely spoiled. She absolutely adore. Yeah, I am proud of it. She does adore me. So I just thought there must be other people that want to wear a sari and don't want to go to their mums, if
go and get it tied up.
Yeah, if it's across town or whatever. And I thought, well, where would I say? Who do I tell? Like, how do I tell them? It's not the kind of thing that you just phone up somebody and say, well, I found a gadget.
It's an amazing story.
So I created a group because I thought there must be things in our British Asian lifestyle that people want to access and don't know how to, whether it's, finding a gadget like this, or like getting a really good dal recipe, or finding where to get a sari blouse made, or where to get a wedding lehenga from. There must be things that the Auntie G network tells each other, and it would be nice to have that online. So there wasn't any strategy, or I never thought it would get big. It was just 200 of my friends as far as I was concerned. And
so basically, how long did it take you to build from an idea? Because you shared a video, or you shared, this is a new gadget that I've got, which has changed my world when it comes to sari. But you've obviously started a group, and you added some people.
Yeah, it took about 15 minutes.
About 15 minutes. And those individuals, did you start up with 200 of your friends?
219 to be exact.
How amazing is that? So 219 of your friends. And then it just organically grew from there?
Yeah, it did. So then, they added their sisters and their friends, and then other people added their friends, and it grew and grew, and I think it got to about 3,000. And I told my husband.
You thought, whoops.
Yeah, I said, by the way, there's something in it, I'm sure. And then I phoned a few friends, and I said, I started this Facebook group, and they're like, yeah, it's nothing. You're never going to
ignore it. Yeah, ignore it. All the naysayers, as we call it, yeah?
Yeah, which was fine, I just wanted to see what people thought. And it just grew phenomenally. And it was such a nice atmosphere, like people sharing about what books they were reading, nice. And what films they were watching, and just nice banter. And then slowly a few more people opened up about things like fertility issues, or domestic violence issues, and where do you go. And so it became a real community of people helping each other and supporting each other.
So in that situation where you're talking about support, did you find that there was a natural gravitation of individuals who were semi-professionals who actually tried to assist people, like, for example, within the fertility arena or the domestic violence environment? Because these can be quite touchy, can't they? It can be very important to get the help at the right time.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that would recommend things like sisters for fertility, or South or Black sisters for domestic abuse. There was a lot of people that came forward as lawyers that said, if I can help you, I will. And they were really giving of their time and their effort. And there's like Raki from Fertility Bump and Beyond. She will write paragraphs and paragraphs of how to help people on certain journeys. And the people like that are really
giving.
They are so giving. And the good thing about it is, because it's on Facebook, because people write things down and stuff, you don't have to necessarily come forward. You could just see something and you just think, that's an issue for me as well. What are people saying?
So that's such a beautiful thing. I mean, hopefully everybody who's listening tonight are getting already some ideas in their mind where how, the current challenge in your life, because this is about empowerment today. The show's about empowerment. The Wahiwala family, we've always been here integrated with society to try and assist and people growing and help them to move forward. It's part of our journeys together. But under a banner of humanity, what you found is obviously people have actually helped each other. Even though they're professionally in that arena, they've chosen not to charge for their time and just to assist. And that's just beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And obviously the assistance is there if you want it, and I don't want to take away from the fact that people are professionals and they're very skilled at their work, and so they are there to access as well as professionals. But I think just that whole sisterness and that togetherness, and it's been a really nice journey, and so it's just organic and it's so feel good, you can just go and just feel like a big female power.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it's perfect for this year as well. And obviously just a few weeks ago was Women's Day, which is very, very wonderful to hear that. So another question, if I could just ask you, just to explain, because most people who have been trying to sort of create these sort of Facebook groups and stuff of that nature, the group gets hijacked. It gets kind of like you sometimes get it becomes more of a business posting environment, and it's the helping scenario tends to sort of just. Did that ever happen organically within the journey?
There was a lot of people trying to promote their businesses on recommendation, and I didn't want to not help them. I think that's part of the empowerment journey of a woman, is that if they've got their own business, then it's great for them to be able to, access clients and stuff. I did feel that it was getting a bit much, and so we did change the rules slightly, and then we created Professional Asian a few months later. One, to help women in their business, and two, so that the men could join, because the men were getting a bit jealous at that point. I can feel that.
Yes, it's all this sisterhood, but what about the brotherhood?
But funnily enough, they some wanted to join, some were just ever so grateful, because they're like, oh, you know what? Those shelves that have been sitting there for 6 months that they didn't, do anything with, their women, just their wives just got on recommendation, said, can you recommend a handyman? And they were up the next day. So it kind of took a bit of pressure off the men, because the women knew where to find stuff. So they were recommending like plumbers and electricians and like normal everyday stuff, which was never the start of the group. It was all supposed to be Asian related stuff, but it ended up being a lifestyle helping hand. Yes.
So that's amazing, because within itself, I can clearly see that actually empowered everybody within the group as well.
Absolutely.
Fits beautifully with Empower Hour here this evening on Salaam Radio. If you'd like to get involved, because I can see some, oh my goodness, we've got Sat Dev already. Hey, Sat, good evening.
Sati.
Barj and Zam, there we are. How are we doing? We've got Arti. Is that right? Yes,
one of my admins.
Yes, and say evening, guys. And I'm just doing a quick shout out to everybody. So if you can see us on there, you can say a quick wave to them all.
Hello, everybody.
We've got Sawan, which again is evening all, evening Sawan, and Bob Wahiwala is actually my older brother, would you believe, is always a very supportive member of this particular show, and I sincerely appreciate his help always. And we've got Darshan. Is that right?
Oh, do you know who Darshan is? A bit of a superstar as well. He's
Hi-all.
yeah, he's Mr. Kapoor in Mrs. Kapoor's daughter's wedding.
Oh,
which
right.
is a fabulous show.
Hey, Darshan, how are you then? And we have Bob Singh, great platform for small
Hello, Bob.
businesses. Thank you very much, Bob, for promoting. And as we're talking about...
that's my brother-in-law, Jital.
Jital's here as well. There we are. Jital Desai. There we are. Evening, everybody. Keep it coming. Keep it going. The actual Empower Hour is going mental. I think it's wonderful to hear such a beautiful connection with everybody else as well. You see, now this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the whole process of giving your heart to people and just helping them. And I think it's been a wonderful journey so far. So now that you've realised that men also have needs and we want to hang out with each other as well.
Yes.
Was it a natural flow to sort of direct the business programming or the business assets or the posting onto another platform, which is now Professional Asian as well?
Yes.
So there's two platforms, just to get clear for anybody who's listening. Zamiha has actually created an amazing program where you've actually got customers or people who are consumer-led in Recommend Asian, which is very feminine and lady-orientated as well. And on the other side, you've got the business side of things, which is the Professional Asian as well. And how does that work? Has the Professional Asian got a complete different flavour to this?
Yeah, it's a bit more serious. There's not so much banter on it, although I mean a lot of these guys are my fabulous admins, Arti and Sawan, Dimple, Ronnie.
We've got Sheena there as well now.
Yeah.
Sheena Patel, how you doing?
They do like a little bit of banter, but it's more business focused. And I think what you have to remember is, again, you don't have to be Asian to join, but what the purpose is to have professionals that serve an Asian community. So, for example, you might have a makeup artist that is really good with that Bollywood look.
Got it.
Or you might have a personal trainer that understands that Gujarati Jain diet and can advise nutritionally correctly. Or even we've had people that their parents live across in East London, they're in North London, and so they can get like a plumber that speaks Punjabi over to their parents without having to go and translate somebody else. So
wonderful.
Yeah, so it's become a good hub for finding things that you need. And then people can obviously advertise it in there as well.
That's stunning. Genuinely, we are very, very humbled and very pleased to have you here this evening. Look at the following, look at the love you're getting. There's so much more. There's Nishma, there we are. We are. See, it says Sam and Baji. Great listening. Thank you very much. It really is an interesting time. If you can see us here, you can see us on Facebook Live. We're pointing at the screen now. We've got ourselves over here as well. So going forward, you also do events, but how did that evolve? Because this is truly an inspirational story. At some stage, we're going to have to make a movie. We're going back to your film studies, yes?
It's everything that has happened has just happened naturally, and like I said, I didn't plan anything. This has just happened. I'm very grateful that it did. I'm surrounded by amazing, inspirational people. One of which is Harry Dokia, who I met at a networking event, and I recognised her from posting on Recommendation. I was like, "Oh, hello, I know you," and
I had the good fortune of meeting Harry at the Yes Group, with Satdev, actually, of all people.
Yes,
there we are,
I was supposed to be there, and I couldn't be there because I couldn't
bless.
get babysitters, but that's... unfortunately.
We move forward. It was meant to be today.
Yes, it was meant to be today. So Harry said, "Oh, I'd really like to do some kind of shopping event," and it was a good fit because she's had the business experience. She's a phenomenal businesswoman, and I didn't have the experience, but I had these two amazing groups with businesses in it and shoppers in it, really. and as a woman, it's like, to be honest, I always regret it when I buy something online, because I think, oh God, I wish I'd felt it if it's clothes, or tried it on, or smelt it if it's something fragrancy, and it just seemed that it was a good opportunity to get the businesses and the people in RA offline into somewhere where they could actually meet the people that they would buy from. And so we have amazing businesses, for jewellery and clothes, and people have launched their own skincare range, like OVO to do this Ayurvedic skincare range. So
it was like an Ovita? Ovita.
Yeah. So
that was one of the success stories you said she started around the same sort of time, right?
She started at our first event that Harry and I put on. She was one of our 45 exhibitors. And this year, on the event just gone, she was actually sponsoring it. So her brand has grown from strength to strength. And, if you've got hair falling out, her oils fix it. And if you've got skin problems...
Amazing. So I'm not stopping you there, but I really want to. This has just become such a blow. I remember I told you a moment ago, Zamiha, I said to you, you are going to start and it's going to finish so quickly.
It has finished quickly. Yes.
We're already at 26 minutes nearly, so we're in our last 30 seconds. So if you've just tuned in, team, anybody out there who's listening to our regular heavy hitters of inspiring individuals and empowerment through Empower Hour with myself, Sukhi Wahiwala. Today our guest is a really humbling and inspirational young lady called Zamiha Desai, who is the founder of Recommendation, which is on Facebook, also Professional Asian, and we're going to talk a bit afterwards, after the break. We're going to go into a bit more detail about Hey Gorgeous and also Mini Asian, two different things. So if you're tuning back in, it's 106.2 FM. See you shortly. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Once again, it's myself, Sukhi Wahiwala. We're all here here in Peterborough with an amazing guest today. This is Salaam Radio Empower Hour 106.2 FM, and please feel free to communicate with us via WhatsApp on 07745 278 978. Thank you very much. Just before I start, we have our amazing guest called Zamiha. I'll bring you straight back in there, Zamiha. Can you say it?
You.
Yeah, and we've had a ballistic movement. I think maybe about 20-30 messages that have been supportive. Thank you very much, everybody, on the Empower Hour page, and they're all lovely followers of your amazing groups.
They're awesome. Thank you.
She's the founder of Recommend Asian, which is a 60,000 plus people within Facebook, and also Professional Asian, which is again 62,000 plus people again, and there's somebody on WhatsApp who sent a lovely message saying, interesting choice, interesting style that you have, Sukhi. Thank you very much for whoever that is. And we will do our utmost best to keep bringing guests just like this with us, with Zamiha. And also we'll endeavour to bring Juggy D back again.
I like Juggy D.
So do we.
Good guy.
Very nice
awesome
guy.
Bloke.
Great.
Yeah.
So, Zamiha, I'm not going to take much more time because time just disappears so quickly here.
It really has.
A vortex, isn't it?
Yes.
So, we were just talking about your humble journey up until now and how you've created this beautiful group of like-minded women and now men as well. Mm-hmm. And they're just there to help each other. They communicate, they touch connection with each other, they assist. Now, my question to yourself is, you said you started with Harry, a young lady which I met recently, who's an architect and interior designer. Mm-hmm. And you said that you started a program called Hey Gorgeous. So please talk a little bit more about this.
So Hey Gorgeous is an amazing collaboration. Harry always wanted to do a shopping event. Like I said, I had some amazing businesses in Professional Asian. I had fantastic people in Recommendation, and it just made sense to marry the two together. And it's one of those things where I think the universe just really wanted it to happen because everything was so easy for us. We got a venue, we got Avari Events in who did all the logistics for us. We had great exhibitors. Mm-hmm. We had, I think the first event, we had about 1,500 people attend, which was amazing for us.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
1,500 people?
Yeah.
For a first event?
For a first event.
Most people were very happy 20 years later to be bringing 1,500 people in.
No, absolutely. And it was just, I think both of us were just so overwhelmed and happy with it. And I think the businesses did well. They established themselves as brands. They got a lot of loyal customers out of it. And
as you
that's
said, that young lady who launched OVO
Vita, yes. She launched it at Hey Gorgeous was her first event. And, these people like Kashish, she's not the only one, but a lot of them put their heart and their soul and their effort and everything into these products that they either create or curate, however they're doing it. There's so much love for what they're doing. And you can see it. And sometimes that's a good thing. That's what I love most about Professional Asian. It's given them an outlet to an audience that is going to be interested in their products and their services. I'm sure they do very well without Professional Asian too, but it's another place for them to go and market their product. And these businesses, they are also supportive towards each other. It's amazing to see the amount of collaboration there is and of togetherness, even if they're all cake makers or clothes people. They really work together. There doesn't seem to be much about competing and stepping on each other. It's really just important. A great feeling.
That's amazing to hear. So basically you're talking about people who have got like products.
Yes.
So cake makers, if they were in henna, mendi or face beauty, and you're saying that they don't have this, they don't have conflict with each other?
There's not like that rivalry.
Oh, wow.
It's more like, let's work together. I gave you a gift today, didn't I?
Yes,
from Chin's Kitchen.
Came to my house. It was very familiar. Was it
Chin's Kitchen? So Chin is this amazing baker. She does these beautiful cakes and she does these nankatais. But
nankatai is, just for everybody else who doesn't know, from the African background, they're basically like little shortcake biscuits called nankatais. Yes? And so Chin's Kitchen, creates this environment where they got the information. Actually, talk about food. Next week we have Parveen, who's actually done a very, very good job of becoming, she's a sort of like a Peterborough young lady, comes from obviously Leeds at her original stage. She'll be our guest next week as well. Much same as yourself, such a powerful lady as well. So back to kitchens.
To Chin. Well, I think most above all, she's a foodie. So much as she's talented in the kitchen, she appreciates good food. She appreciates other bakers. She appreciates people that create amazing food products or any products for that matter, and she's always willing to work with people and mentor people. And I think when you have that kind of mindset, you set yourself up for success.
Wow.
Because helping somebody, even if they're in the same industry as you, just empowers you, to empower but it's true. It empowers you to be a better version of yourself and help somebody else along their business journey.
This is so beautiful. If you don't know, but I'll share it just a little bit. I have a program which is a methodology called the Synegus method, which with God's grace I've created and helped other people deliver it as well. And one specific area in there is called power learning, and the last element of power learning is to share. So this is the powerful part. It's so beautifully heard from yourself as well. Thank you for sharing that.
But it makes sense though. Even just within the group, there's 60,000 people. If everyone has a birthday, the one person can't cater for every birthday cake, right? So you might as well just share the love and share the support. Same with clothes. You don't go to one shop and buy all your clothes. There's many clothes, Lenga ladies, people that do like salwar kameez and tailored made outfits and everything. You can go to a range and have a beautiful wardrobe. There's no reason for them to be competitive like that.
Now that makes such a brilliant different differentiation in conversation. So I'm just going to share something. Somebody called Sabun has actually come through, and I know you probably know them as well.
I do.
Sonal, Dave there as well.
Yeah.
And she said it twice, and it's great for products and services. This is obviously we're talking specifically around the Professional Asian and also the recommendation. And also it says Professional Asian, there we are, by Savan has literally changed so many, it's more like so many
that's just
lives.
The way he talks.
So many individuals and businesses' lives, helping people grow and evolve. So thank you very much for all these lovely contacts as well, and Kiran saying hi as well. What a lovely integrated connection you've got with all these individuals, and they recommend, and more importantly, they really appreciate yourself, as we are this evening as well.
Oh, and I appreciate them. Look how much support and love there is.
Truly, without a doubt. Now, if anybody here basically is watching, listening on YouTube Live across the globe, whether it's Africa's all the way through from India, all the way through to here, I've got people following me in Australia, which I didn't realize, and so humbled as well.
Actually, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you there, but this is the power of it. Somebody posted, Raj Katecha, he's awesome guy. He posted about an event he was doing in Dubai in Professional Asian, and people actually turned up.
From Professional Asian?
Yes.
Now that's what you call
crazy,
support.
right?
That's what you call support, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so well done. So again, with individuals that are coming through, they're connecting, they connect with everybody else. This, if you're listening to this and you're slightly empowered or slightly inspired to actually connect with other like-minded business people and possibly even grow your business at the same time, you need to head over to Facebook and get yourself a member of, if you're a lady, a recommendation. Otherwise, you're going to get turned away. That's what's going to happen. And if you're mixed, obviously, within any of the English environments at all, it's not locked down to just being Asians.
Absolutely not.
It's a professional Asian is actually where most of the business elements are done. And if you fancy doing it in future, we've got these. You have large events. You've just completed an event, haven't you? This last weekend.
Yeah. So this was our 5th Hey Gorgeous.
5th already since
5th
2017.
already.
Well done.
Yes. And it was on for 2 days this time, and we had almost, I think, final numbers aren't in, but probably around 7,000 people through the doors over the weekend.
That is tremendous.
And 105 businesses, 5 of which were between 11 and 17 years old.
11 and 17. So this is children.
Yes.
So we're talking about what you'd coin something like youngpreneurs, right?
Youngpreneurs, that's it. They were absolutely phenomenal. They were sponsored by 5 businesses, so Black Cube, Big Fish Tutors, OVO2, Your Slumber, and Bombay Roti. So we had 5 established businesses.
Yeah.
Helping them understand their marketing, their sales, the way they displayed their products, the way they did their pricing, all kinds of stuff. We gave them a little bit of money each to go off and do a little bit something extra special.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they created their own products, or they sourced them and they sold them, and they absolutely killed it.
Now, I'm not sharing. I'm going to ask you to share a little bit more about one of the Dorito stands as well for a start, and how everybody sold their stock through. But these are children, our kids, going into these environments. I think, if I'm correct, your own daughter.
Yes.
So
she was the inspiration behind it, to be
God
fair. So she
and
said,
how old is she?
She's 11, and she said, "Mummy, can I have a slime stand?"
A slime stand?
Yes.
Oh, that's brilliant. My own daughter, Navjot Kaur, who's actually, would you believe, she's been photobombing here as well. She started the slime production as well. It must be that age. What an amazing, inspirational young lady.
So I said to Upesh, my Hey Gorgeous business partner, I was like, why don't we do a youngpreneur thing and just invite a few kids to showcase their business ideas? So they had to do like a little business case, do a little YouTube video.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That is so inspiring. It's so inspiring.
Yeah. And then the mentors just really made them up their game. I mean, the slime that was mentored by Harry, it went from just like literally slime to a whole sensory experience with beads, and they had the tagline "Stretch Your Senses."
Like it.
Yeah, and they had like aromatherapy scents for the adults, so they did an adult range, and they had like fun scents for the kids. So they really thought about their product in a different way with the help of these mentors, and they sold out of slime. Let's Nacho just had refried beans, salsa, sour cream, cheese, done. He sold probably around 500 portions of nachos over the weekend. No, probably more actually.
Over the weekend. So this basically is a youngpreneur, right?
Yeah.
So somebody who's trying to, for the very first time,
Yeah, he's
with
13
a mentor.
years old.
13 years old,
Yeah.
with a mentor from your environment,
Yeah.
yes? So coming from the background of
Yeah.
Hey Gorgeous, which
Yeah.
is what's coming through. And these are businesses who are advertising within your own portal as
right,
well.
yes.
And they've given their own time up to help
Yes.
and assist. And they've helped this young lad of 13 years old to create this nacho program.
Yeah.
Nachos, yes? And he's sold out. Like
Sold out loads of times over. His parents were running back and forwards to Costco all
goodness.
weekend because of the amount that he was selling. It was
God bless
just
you.
crazy. And
God bless you for creating such a beautiful, warm environment that actually really, truly promotes the next generation as well.
Yeah, and he got a booking afterwards as well. He
What,
got
for
a
his food?
catering booking. Yeah.
My goodness me.
Yeah.
So if anybody's interested and you're young and you're listening, because we have such a young age group listening to our show here as well this evening, every week and on a Tuesday evening, as you know, between 7 and 8 o'clock every evening live. Get in touch, get mentored, get started, become your youngpreneur.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for such an inspirational conversation there.
That's
so
okay.
To move it further forward, helping individuals, helping children. Why would somebody want to do that for nothing?
Why would they not want to help the next generation? It's the next generation of business people. What's the point of having knowledge if you can't share it?
Bless you. So beautifully said. What's the point of having knowledge in your life if you're not sharing it? Yeah. And in the context of how I share is, if a man is not giving, man meaning mankind, if a man is not giving, they are not truly living. Mm-hmm. Isn't that amazingly said? It's so beautifully said. I think it's beautiful to understand and connect with that. So I know that there's some other scenarios. We touched earlier on in the first half about individuals who had maybe domestic challenges, but we touched also a little bit on people who are just like looking at the new ways of having, creating the curries that their mums, their fathers, their ancestral curries that they were making, how to get new recipes, and where do I get this particular sari? How do I start by creating the pleats in my sari?
Yeah.
And that's from that, just a recap quickly. You said you also assist individuals who are going through marital, in the sense of families as well. So you have a separate site for this, right?
So we have Mini Asian.
Yeah.
And Mini Asian is for parenting. So parenting can be hard, especially if you're a first-time parent. And things change so much. I mean, when I had my kids, even from the first child to the second child, there was different ways of feeding, the different thoughts about nutrition, different gadgets and things that came out. So I think, again, in that spirit of helping each other, Mini Asian has been really good, and it's been great for teaching children. So, for example, there's the JJ's books, or there's a few different books that have come out that are teaching about Hinduism and Sikhism in child-friendly format, and like Guju Tots, who has this great CD and does classes for toddlers learning Gujarati, having Gujarati nursery rhymes and stuff. There's just so much access to things that you wouldn't. I think the point is it's not Googleable, or you wouldn't maybe even think to Google it. Yeah. And there's all these people doing these great things for children, like children's cooking classes. My daughter went to Jyoti Behan and learned how to make like rotli.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it's just this whole world of opportunity, I suppose. And I think especially, well, to all parents, not just Asians. So, but it's important to, one, educate your child, get them learning, but also get them learning about their culture. And sometimes, like people like me, they're actually not as much in touch with their culture as they'd like to be. So it's great to know where they can access that too.
That's a really lovely way. Bishate is embracing the Facebook platform with our modern way of thinking and seeing and interaction with data. So just a question there. I just want to touch something. So if people who are listening who don't come from an Asian diaspora, they're thinking about maybe even learning how to do the things that we classify as quite natural and Asian type thinking, like cooking, wearing, and looking. They can get in touch with these sort of environments as well. So it's
Absolutely.
a complete open and
completely open. And in fact, I think people that are married into Asian families that aren't Asian have actually benefited quite a lot from just knowing things, or being able to ask things, or understand some cultural things. And even we've had people saying, what do you wear to a Sikh funeral? They don't know.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, and how do you know if you're you don't, right?
If you're not Sikh,
you don't want to ring up the family when they've had a bereavement. Yeah.
And actually, sadly, with gratitude, but whichever way you see it, but my mum passed away late last year as well.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And we ourselves, also received telephone calls thinking, what does one wear?
Yeah.
And this really is a very valid point. So many things, even when it comes to marriages, even when it comes to birthdays, or if a person's religious, do they even want a present? That kind of thing. So I think it's a really, really great subject and a service that you're delivering. But even when it comes to the parenting side of things, because I work with another organisation called Brilliant Parenting, so it's really, really beautiful to hear that in Mini Asian, is that correct? So
yes.
There you can talk about child stuff, just things like maybe the baby is having a cough, or how do you get past things, that kind of stuff, or not?
Yeah, you can do. We try to keep away from a lot of medical stuff just because, you know, we don't know. I mean, we do have the disclaimer that you should go get professional medical advice for stuff like that. But yeah, I guess people want to know if other children have been through it, if it's normal. Is it normal to talk at a certain age or walk at a certain age? You know, like I said, first time parent, you just don't know some things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the wisdom that they pass on to each other is just...
It must be phenomenal.
Good. Yeah, I think it's really comforting.
Lovely way of putting it.
And even, I think... So Ronnie runs Mini Asian, and she is one of my best friends, and she's really helped me out. And she unfortunately had a number of miscarriages, so even offline she has started so on WhatsApp they've got a little offshoot fertility and baby loss group.
Oh, bless you.
And so they get together every few months and just share with each other and support each other through that, because again, it's a difficult time. And
very much so.
I think sometimes with the Asian families, there's a lot of stigma there's around, you know, not being able to conceive, not, you know, whether they should adopt or not. And it's heartbreaking when your parents or your in-laws don't kind of get where you're coming from, or you can't talk to them. And I guess it's just a safe environment where it's okay to talk about it.
Yeah, and the key there, you said there, is it's the safe environment. It really is a safe environment where people aren't necessarily going to be back-chatting each other. Thank you very much for touching such a warm, necessary topic as well. You've got more individuals here saying that just links into another conversation here. We've got Aarti, Soni, who basically says that you don't just help businesses, you help charities too. So I need to learn a little bit about this, if you don't mind. We haven't spoken about this.
Well, I mean, Aarti's a phenomenal lady. She's just so warm to everybody. She's so helpful to everybody.
Bless you.
And so with Smile with Shiv is a gorgeous little boy who's got muscular dystrophy. And Aarti, you're going to have to say the name of it because I've forgotten, but a certain rare type. She hosts events at their optician in Rayners Lane in New Vision, and invite people in, and they supply canapes and drinks, and they just have this fundraiser, Smile with Shiv. And I think a lot of people actually come to the group and say, this is charity I'm doing, because anybody donate prizes or help out a little bit here and there, and so it helps all the charities in their own way.
Within itself, I mean, I'll be honest with yourself, I think sometimes...
Duchenne, that's it. Thank you, Aarti.
Oh, Duchenne.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, muscular dystrophy.
So it's just raising awareness. And so we don't allow just giving, funding links on PA, but we're very happy for people to share, things about their charities, what they do. Jay Dolly Jr. shares quite a lot. He does a lot of distribution of socks and coats and food and stuff.
That's obviously to help individuals.
Project giving,
project to help other people. Yes, we've had some brilliant people when it comes from that sort of background, and it's really lovely that you're supporting them, and you obviously have that love as well within your own heart. So look at the conversation we're having here. The platform's made phenomenal difference thanks to you. So it's such an amazing amount of aspiration and adoration towards yourself as well. And this is the kind of stuff that we're trying to achieve here on Empower Hour, to show people that we can come from a normal background, and then we can create change. Because Facebook has sometimes got a bit of a stigma attached to it as a waste of time, something that's a distraction. But the reality is that if you're involved in the right community and led by the right community leaders, and obviously all of your ambassadors here as well, if you're led by the right community, right people, then it can become a very helpful environment and life-changing and supporting environment, a safe place to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So God bless you for creating such a platform and such amazing platforms.
Thank you.
Would you believe we're down to our last 3 minutes?
Oh,
so
no.
If you have got any questions for Zamiha, please do post out. So Zamiha, I'm going to ask you a question. Where next? Because obviously, the kite's flying high with God's blessings. It's a beautiful thing to hear. Such change. It's all about the empowerment. You've embraced the digital platform to create such a warm environment. So what's next? Where does your vision take you now?
I would love Hey Gorgeous to go a bit further afield. I'd love it to go to the Midlands. I'd love to be able to showcase some amazing businesses outside of London. I'd love to carry on with the whole launching of businesses and helping women and men just
thank you.
Access the platform and grow their brand. And again, I can't do everything myself, but there are such amazing people that talk about, like Aarti with her brand. She did this brand workshop the other day, and it was phenomenal. There's so many things about your she called it brand DNA. So Aarti Palmer, you're awesome, because it just really got down to the structure of
Give her a wave.
Well, hey Aarti, and you can see the difference in when she's got involved. There are just phenomenal people, and I like just being able to help people connect with other people and introduce them in order for them to up their game on their business.
Wonderful. So if I was to say to yourself in 2 years' time, because we're running out of time again.
Okay.
In 2 years' time, where does the brand go? You've touched thousands and thousands of people's lives. Where does it go? Have you got like a vision of maybe touching 1 million people, 100 million? What is it? What is it in your mind?
I would like Recommendation to be the place that you go when you need something Asian.
I love it. And I suppose to an extent that could also become a real vibrant vision when you've got local pods as well. So it could be Recommendation East Anglia, Recommendation Midlands, etc. Yes?
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have versions of that at the moment. They need like a bit of refining, but they're awesome for the people that they have there. But I think what I'd really most like to do is break the taboos in society, in Asian society, about the adoption, about the fertility, about the domestic abuse and everything. And the other thing I'd like to do is help people realize how professional these people are, and move away from the whole discount culture to really appreciate the skill that some of these artisans put into their work. I really appreciate how hard they work, how hard they train, the education they put into themselves. It's about appreciating the value of people and valuing themselves as well.
Beautiful. And I just want to hear listening to you all night, and I wish I could, but we're down to 20 seconds, so I have to give my final anchor.
Okay.
We've had our guest this evening called Zamiha, and she is the founder of such tremendous change on this planet. Recommendation is just the one of them. Please join her groups, join her vision, and God bless you. This is the Empower Hour on Salaam Radio with Sukhi Wahiwala, your host. Good night.